a darling week as it is our continuation of our ETF2L 6v6 Autumn 2024 coverage, season 48 for all those people that are old-fashioned like myself, Turbo Tabs. But I've got some new blood in here. I've got Ben PL on my co-cast as well. How are we doing, Ben?
Doing absolutely fantastic, like we say. Yeah, week 3, it's already week 3. Time is absolutely flying when we're having fun. And we certainly are this season. There's been some great games so far, and this one should be no different from the rest. We've got Forfence and we've got NOOBPANZER taking on tonight.
Yeah, these are two teams with two different journeys in this ETF2L season. And I know what you're wondering. I haven't forgotten about our little producer who's showing all of our coverage as well. That is Samus. And yeah, she's going to be showing you NOOBPANZER versus Forfence. These two journeys, Ben, Forfence, they've been looking quite gold, or they've been struck gold. And that's a bad thing in ETF2L land. Golden caps everywhere.
Yeah, the one map they haven't had golden cap on was a Koth map, and you physically can't get golden caps on Koth, and even that was a 3-2, so it's been as close as can be for all their games so far, and against Mandem, that's a good thing, right? Is Mandem coming in as champions last season, getting a 3-2 loss on Product, and then a golden cap loss on the other map of Metalworks is probably good signs for them, but yeah, double golden cap last week, and maybe the clutch factor's just not there, because every single time, all 3 of these golden caps, they've come out worse.
Yeah, it is not the ideal goal, and I think it hurts ever so more just being so close off the mark to victory and then just slipping by a couple of hairs than just those ones that you just flat out lose straight away. So they're probably going to be kicking themselves a little bit, but on the other side, who haven't been kind of close with it at all, NOOBPANZER, well, the true to the name, Ben, they are panzering the noobs. They are just running over them one by one. And yeah, they're looking like they could be the favorite for this season.
Yeah, well, it's been a pretty good start for them, right? They've played 2 games so far, and they've not actually gone to the full 30 minutes at all in any of their games. They've had 5-0s, 5-1s, and such. It's we've never needed all the time, and yeah, they've been dominant. And yes, they really haven't been playing the teams like sort of top of the table where we're thinking maybe they've got a chance of shooting out, but they're pretty much beating up all the teams below them. So they're a really exciting team, and yeah, maybe come the end of the season they could be one of the ones we could be seeing getting towards that final, or maybe even winning.
All right, so obviously this is ETF2L. This is new age ETF2L, or I should say current age ETF2L, where they have a little pool of maps, picks and bans. So we do have a little map pick and bans to show you, as I think how it goes from memory is was a. I say from memory. I'm going to refer to my sheet. There we go. It was. So Voxy over on the side of NOOBPANZER bans our process. And then Brugman, fellow representative for Forfence, ban out Gullywash, and they end up picking Snake, which will be our first map. And then finally, our final map will be Sunshine for the NOOBPANZER team. All right, Ben, anything kind of truly revelating about these options, these choices, these decisions made by these players?
I think the new Panzer pick is kind of they picked they picked Sunshine, and like I think that sort of makes a lot of sense. They maybe saw the game last week because we saw Forfence really struggle against Garda and Sunshine. Their mid fights, I think they lost every mid but one. They were really struggling to get anything going, and yeah, they sort of limped along to a golden cap, but there was like a clear sign of weakness there over on the Forfence side. So maybe a new Panzer want to strike it on that. But Sunshine's a talk for later on tonight because we've got Snakewater first, which is going to bring it something slightly different. But again, obviously, it's a map that that NOOBPANZER 5-0'd Guardian earlier this season, but they've kind of 5-0'd everyone so far. So what's to say on that?
Yeah. So, I mean, it's probably kind of the ugly child, it seems, out of the map pool. Everyone seems to be kind of growing to hate this map rather than love it, at least in, if I could read the room correctly. It's just that stinking last point. People, it's just got a bad stir
Yeah,
about it.
it's still hard, isn't it, to get anything going into that last point. There's when the gun's on the grass and there's a sniper watching one side. There's a demo there. There's all these tight chokes to peek through. It's so difficult to get anything going. But if you are a team that can break into that last point, then absolutely fantastic, and you may as well run that to the bank because yeah, you can get so many wins against teams who are really going to struggle to get many rounds at all on the board.
Yeah, and well, before we go into it, should be starting relatively soon. So, who are NOOBPANZER? Who are Forfence? Well, I'll spell it out to you if you've been living under a rock. Over on the NOOBPANZER side, we have Piggles on Medic. Gigi will be playing Demoman, formerly known as Joe. We also have Puck and Ryan on the Soldier Caps, respectively. Voxy and Hugi will be playing the scout classes. And over on the side of Forfence, we've got Mula on Medic, Deli on Demoman, Brugman and D-Mul on Soldiers, and QB and Nevo on Scouts. And my, look at that, right on time. Ben, I hope you're ready for a good one, because I sure am.
Yeah, it should be a good one. These teams obviously stacked with talent. Maybe Forfence haven't got the results we expected them so far, but this is a big one for both these teams. Both these teams looking for those playoff spots later on in the season, but you've got to get those points where it counts early on. As we get onto this first mid-fight, Forfence in their traditional blue and NOOBPANZER over there in the red.
Alright, so both Demoman turned up quite promptly. Brugman with an early sort of picking jump, but not committing himself to start off. Just see if they can get some early on damage. It looks like they're all trying to focus the damage onto Joe, but Joe will not take too much to kind of snuff at. He will keep himself alive. First jump in, coming in from Ryan, and he manages to get himself picked off, and Brugman is staying alive during that sort of aggression as well. Puck does follow up with some good damage at the start of that little jump from Ryan, but it wasn't enough. They were prepared for it over on Forfence.
Yeah, absolutely. Now they're reaping the rewards because both soldiers down means it's a free midpoint and a free second point. Those soldier bombs were weathered so well by that Forfence side, and now we mentioned before about this hard press and getting 4 players out means there is going to be defense set up. There's already a gun getting built, there's a sniper up as well, but Forfence, they want to pressure in already, but Brugman gets deleted by those stickies from GG.
Yeah, it's a spot that not many people suspect over on the enemy side. They just had it stickied up in those launching pads of the wall, the places where soldiers just love to do that double rocket jump from, and yeah, probably sent them through a loop, poor Brugman. He's going to come back to the world of living, and Nevo does have the option to go off into an off class, so let's see if he pulls that off. Meanwhile, Hugi is already matching him straight at the beginning with a sniper off class.
Yeah, very aggressive as well, already peeking over towards this bridge. We can see Mula just cowering behind these boxes, does not want to see any sight of that sniper over on the NOOBPANZER side. But now with 6 players up on the board, Nevo opting not to off-class, just to stay on scout for a moment. It means now pressure can come in through the lobby again, they can get everyone in position. Hugi just checking in case Nevo has decided to off-class, but as you say, that hasn't been the case. It's all going to be spam and soldier bombs.
You know, I'm hoping to see, we had a little fun little clip on Essentials. Oh, no time to interrupt now. They threw in Brugman and D-Mul both get handled by the sentry gun and sniper respectively. And yeah, it's going to be a tough one. This is a very infamous last push and hold on, but there's still opportune times to kind of pull this off. They've got about 3 minutes left on the clock and an off-class able from both these teams. And Resident Sniper D-Mul does very much go for the off-class.
Yeah, it's something you can get a lot of value out of on Snake. It's one of sort of the tried and tested ways of getting in, and yeah, D-Mul clearly confident is going to be the one picking up the rifle over on Forfence. There's so many capable snipers in this team. It's like who do you pick between? But D-Mul was the one of the respawn queue, so it's D-Mul going to be the one to come in and take the shot. Coming over towards this shutter, Ryan is looking at it, but there's maybe a chance for one shot. The shot lands over onto Joe. It's not a headshot. Yeah, GG lives.
I think you still have that issue with TF2 where if you do a full body charge shot against the door, the dot shows up on the other side of the door. So I think if Pickles is just paying attention to the doorway and he sees a big blue dot form, he can just, duck for cover. But Joe, GG, is not really that concerned. He's just going to kind of still hold his ground and hope his team can clean up that sniper door.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, D-Mul is going to find the shot. It's over onto Poke, but the soldier pick does mean a lot. It means there's plenty of space to walk in now, potentially, for the rest of these pressuring classes. They rotate over towards this shutter again. D-Mul going to open the shutter in a second, try and land this shot. Doesn't land it onto Ryan. Ryan actually has 2 nice rockets there over onto D-Mul, and that might buy enough time because Poke is already spawning in.
Yeah, I like that D-Mul's rotating the door a lot as well. Very good sniper. Keep him guessing that they could be from any doorway whatsoever. And D-Mul, every time he's just discovered at one, he's going to rotate to another. It gives us enough time as well to get a nice healthy buff from Mula. Make sure he doesn't get clipped by any of these things. He's going to challenge for the sniper versus sniper. Gets 99, doesn't quite get the kill though onto Hugi. So it's another crack at it, but they're rotating again.
Yeah, it's so hard, especially when there's this resup as well. You can even see from the inside the spawn out, you get the Peeker's advantage on that, and they get more than that because Brugman and D-Mul both getting caught out in the lobby, and potentially NOOBPANZER can start taking some space and looking for some counter-aggression. Puck already looking down into the dungeon. They've got the sniper as well taking space up in the lobby. Maybe going to go for a peek, but no, Deli's doing a good job spamming out so far while they wait for these spawners to come back.
Yeah, that's the downside of having such a fortified defense over on this last point. When you have these little picks, it's hard to convert off them because what are you going to do? You're going to take away all your engineer empire just to maybe humor the idea of pushing out? No, they're just going to go back and play it safe instead. They did get Hughie aggressive for a second, but didn't quite find a pick, so back they go again, and even does a little clash check.
Yeah, and while there's 1 minute left on this timer before round reset, as Demo's got in very, very far actually. He's going to land a couple of rockets there. Pickles takes a bit of damage too, but Demo gets caught out by the mini crit from Yuji, pickaxe in hand, and yeah, it looked dangerous for a moment, but everyone holds on.
I've got to love the little bunker they've set up here. There may be some NA-inspired clips as soon as Pickles takes some damage, he's like, take the teleporter. It just teleports away back to the respawn. And yeah, it could have gone a bit dicey, but it's just too much to really kind of get on top of Pickles. Even if they manage to get a loose shot onto him, that push from the sentry gun is going to be enough. They just decide to Uber in onto these final moments, and there you go, there's that teleporter working again like clockwork, and gets Pickles out nice and safe, and he's got an Uber charge to still play with. It does get forced out by Demo jumping in now, but there's so many people committed for that point, for that Pickles Uber charge force, that they've only got 3 to really defend with, and no Uber charge going to the second point, but they're not even going to push. There's only 10 seconds left.
Yeah, and why would you? Over on the NOOBPANZER side, they know just taking the mid-fight ahead of maybe risking taking the second and then only being in the even Uber situation on that second point. So they reset, and 6 minutes into our map on Snakewater, we've had our first reset. Potentially more where this came from, but honestly, that NOOBPANZER defense looks borderline impenetrable. It looks so strong, and for offense, they had some ideas. The sniper looks okay at moments, and that they maybe getting the soldiers in too far left had a bit of threat, but I don't know, NOOBPANZER just, it looks so solid.
Yeah, I think with the new age option of just putting the engineer teleporter down, giving your medic a way to just get out is kind of scary in that aspect. I think it could have gone a bit pear-shaped if the Uber aggressed onto more players that weren't going to be part of that Pickles Uber, but hey ho, what can you do? They are going to take another crack at mid, and they're postured very aggressively over on 4 fence. They're not playing defensive at all this time. Double soldier bomb coming in, pie high in the sky. Can't quite land the rockets onto anyone though, and they just counter jump them. And with their 2-3 picks, they're going to go back, and poor Gigi is left stranded.
And Bruger's behind. Bruger's waiting in lobby for them, waiting with open arms for his combo to come back in, and Pickles goes down on the retreat. I was going to say before, maybe it's deja vu, the 2 soldiers getting caught on mid, but this time it's so different. Bruger's able to go behind, lock the door in the faces of the retreating NOOBPANZER players, and now it's a very different situation. 4 fence looking good to get the first round on the board with full Uber advantage.
Yeah, and they're already coming in. They're not giving them any time or setup to breathe. They're already popping off Uber. They've focused down their first easy peasy target. Got a lot of cap time on the point. They Uber people on point briefly just to keep them defended from all the aggression from the other side of the door. And yeah, it pays off. They get their first round. Very nice redo at it over on 4 fence.
That's the difference that a couple of seconds makes there. Like, those soldiers go down, and the 4 fence team, they're so alert and ready. They're already on the chase instantly, and they don't let them get out, because we saw what happens before. If you let those 4 players get out to last and get the setup, you've got to break through that whole defense again. But you know, the best way to win rounds on Snakewater is you don't win them on last, you win them on second, or you win them on mid, and you roll them through, and that's exactly what 4 fence just did.
Puck and Ryan are making a case for why aggressive mids aren't really taken on Snakewater nowadays. They just get gobbled up every single time, and I wouldn't even say they're denied. They are allowed room to like get in there, but the Rockets just don't seem to find anyone or connect with anyone. Now they're going to show them how it's done. They first jump in Demo, nice and aggressive behind, taking the enemy health back, and he's going to recommit back in. He will go down, but he's put a lot of damage for his team to work with, and with Pickles down as well, they might be able to play off the damage, but they exceed themselves over on NOOBPANZER. Managed to actually run around with this double scout combo. They are literally a double scattergun shot walking on legs, and yeah, it's terrifying. They link up now, QB and Deli, trying to take the scouts in a 2v2, but it's still 2 scouts. It's ever so scary. QB brought down low, can't quite finish anybody, and who's got enough gas in the tank at this point?
Well, we're here for mid-fight number 2, because the combos of both these teams are rolling up. No one overcommits in that 2v2. Everyone just thinks, you know what, we'll seed the ground, we'll back up, we'll wait for the rest of our team, and we'll just take the fight again, essentially, as 4 fence now, ready with their beam on the point. Delhi taking a good chunk of that as they try to take this high ground and pressure out. It's minor space advantage so far for 4 fence. They're really wanting to walk in and tighten the screw.
Oh, no,
Demo's in onto Pickles as well. Ryan's gone down too. Gigi trying to get out, very low HP, getting pistoled on the way back out, but lives on 7 HP, but the medic's gone down again.
Yeah, it's a very wild west world when it comes to second mids, because you're usually not optimum at all with your rollouts. You don't have the same buffs that you used to. So when you kind of scramble to mid, you kind of have to just work with what you got. So not everybody's paired off in the right places. You're not really rehearsed. So if it looks scrappy, it's because it is, Ben.
Yeah, there was a tiny advantage in terms of space and hanging over for offense, and they pushed that to its maximum. But we saw already before they had that Uber ad push. This time, all 6 players are going to be up from the NOOBPANZER side, so it's marginally harder. But there's still a big Uber ad and a big push coming in from this right-hand side. Gun taken down already. Sticky's getting cleared over the point. Deli tries to look out this right spawn. Hugie gets caught on the way back into Demul, jumping in behind by the truck and doing a load of damage over towards this combo. But somehow Puck and Ryan are combining together to get a whole boatload of kills.
Yeah, Pickles was instrumental there. He was doing a nice healthy amount of crossbowing to straight into GG and straight into I think, well, maybe not the heavies weapons guy. I think he missed a few of those, but overall though he kept his demo man alive, and a live demo on the last point is a powerful thing, Ben.
Yeah, absolutely. And now for the first time this game, Pickles is going to have an advantage to work with, as they've just captured the second point, going to get themselves ready. It looks like Sora is going to be the port of call for this push in, and yeah, if they have to play this passively, they know it's going to be serious if they use so early.
Yeah, but they've got the flank squad on the case. QB and Demul are challenging the 2 holders, but Ryan and Hugie managed to hold the line perfectly well. So it does take the wind a little bit out of the sails of NOOBPANZER there, as they double back a couple of their players to maybe deal with those behind players. But they have them on lock, and hopefully Forfence have obliged them quite well enough to just give up and go straight out into their second point. So mid isn't really as hard to hold on to as they hoped.
Yeah, I was wondering there if the Forfence flank didn't realise that like the Uber was going to be used so early, because if they knew that, they'd just like, you can regroup and just take the 6v6 afterwards with the heals. But now they've had to back up so far, and yeah, going to have to try and use this back in. But it's not really hard, right? Pickles is already at 95%, so if they won't be too far. Pocket Scout going down too. Okay, this is a disaster of a push.
Yeah, I think they had 2 different philosophies there. Obviously, NOOBPANZER want to just pop in and just get this party rolling, whilst they want to get a bit greedier over on the side of Forfence. And my God, Foxy just mans up and just lays all the shots into him. We've got an Uber trade, but it's a soldier versus a scout. A scout's much better at finding those players. Won't get the pick onto Deli to start off with. Brugeman does kind of do his best scout impression, goes behind and tries to take off a pick as well. But Demul has some much better sort of reconnect with his team to kind of play off this damage. Foxy reconnects him back with his scout, and Nevo does manage to finish him off in that peppering. And yeah, it looked like it could have gone either way between both of these teams. They did a wonderful job between the soldiers, just trying to kind of cause chaos in the midst of all these Ubers going down.
Yeah, the important one there is Pickles eats a couple of rockets in that, but he's just surfing all over the place and does manage to just sneak out back through lower. So it is still even Ubers. Spawns weren't blocked either, so this is going to be a dead even situation now. But like you say, in that brawl, that could have gone any which way, with scouts getting dropped. There was the soldiers trying to recommit. It was very scrappy, and Forfence sort of technically come out on top. It could have been perhaps more of an advantage, but yeah, really nicely played there on the escape from the remaining NOOBPANZER players as they're getting themselves set up for a defense on their own second point.
Alright, so you've got an Uber over on Forfence, but they've not really shown any sort of tenation about just popping it straight away, while NOOBPANZER, they want to get rid of that thing like it's a filthy, dirty smell. So it's really nice to see these sort of 2 different philosophies at work here, rather than just who's the best at playing this one way.
Yeah, absolutely, and I guess it maybe plays into the fact that obviously Forfence are round up. They maybe, I guess with 16 minutes left, there's not too much of a rush, but actually these NOOBPANZER are pushing the issue already, like you say, they're barging in. Oh, Pickles gets forced by Brugeman.
Yeah, and Brugeman actually manages to get behind a bit. I know it's not the biggest victory in the world, but he does delay a little bit of time for these scouts and soldiers to kind of feel their presence onto mid, but they managed to get back in now. And yeah, they haven't really got enough sort of playmakers over on Forfence to kind of make something happen on mid. They're rotating around though. They're going to pop in now. They're actually showing that NOOBPANZER, we can do it too. And I like this pop. Delays the cap, brings all their forwards to have a guaranteed forward respawn. And yeah, they just give it up completely on NOOBPANZER, realizing they've just maybe been outplayed by this timing of this Ubercharge youth and playing it very safe. And now, oh, they do lose Demul on the flank. They're holding a bit too aggressively, but they've managed to pincer in 2 players because they went for that committal. So 2 versus 1 is a bigger number last time I checked, so they might make a play with this over on Forfence.
Yeah, Piggles is still a little bit away from this Uber charge coming up, but yeah, Forfans with an extra player, they're maybe looking to start walking forward. I guess they're scared. Piggles could be having it any time. I think with obviously the scrappy nature of that previous fight, it may be hard to keep an eye on who's got what in terms of Ubers. So yeah, just chill for a moment on second, wait for their own Uber to come up. And Demul, in the meantime, has come up on a sniper. He's getting forced at the angle already as the Uber charge is used in, but used in onto who really? They haven't really got any ground at all over on NOOBPANZER, and they have to retreat all the way to Sora already. And the Mula Uber is just still safe in his hands.
Yeah, I think that came down a lot to wow, Demol even gets the pick onto Ryan, who was trying to cheekily get away there, but the very nice sort of presence brought by Brugman. And not only did his sort of rockets and spam kind of, I wouldn't say force the issue, but it just maybe said like, maybe you want to pop this a bit earlier, you're already feeling a bit of damage and aggression. And yeah, manages to just kite them into this sort of no man's land where there was nothing to really Uber into, and then they just felt way too sheepish over on NOOBPANZER to continue, but they back off. They use the Uber over on 4 fence. They even get a free Voxy pick to start off the fighter thing, so no rotating. They do have to deal with this heavy weapons guy though, and Joe is just such a force. Oh, nice a bit of damage coming out from Demon to take out the heavy weapons guy basically and make it just a mere cough thrown at him to get this round. Very nice from Demon there.
Yeah, really nice. And also, a really important pick is just catching the engineer at the start of the fight, because of course the engineer himself is not going to do too much, but we often see them going back and changing off into other classes. Getting that pick right as the shutter door opens at the start actually makes such a big difference. So yeah, Demul really making the sniper into last work so well. And yeah, those shots in the heavy at the end were very nice. So 4 fence now 2-0 up, with just over half the map played, and their mid fights have looked pretty darn good so far. So maybe they're feeling confident coming into this next one.
Seems whoever kind of steps the first foot forward first seems to be punished the most. So I expect both of these teams now to play very relaxed, although they already start off with a nice Yugi pick who was just trying to cover his boy Gigi, getting all this aggression from the start, and is turned around and gets all the hate himself. And with one player, yes, just one player lost that early is enough for NOOBPANZER to just back out cleanly and completely.
Yeah, and Forfans, they don't want to stop. Big shot! Oh, Brugman gets destroyed on the way in there through the sword. Voxy taking kill credits, of course, on that one, as scouts usually do. But yeah, big pick there, and maybe NOOBPANZER now with one pick up, they might want to look for some aggression themselves. Like you said earlier, they're very keen to sort of push on any sort of tiny advantage they have, and they're already very aggressively posed here in Seoul.
Yeah, Delhi holding close to the door, giving them nice little love taps and spam. I think maybe they want to bait somebody around this corner to kind of maybe throw some scout hate into them over on NOOBPANZER, but no one was quite biting over on 4 fence, and instead they just back off over onto the second point, bring out the drawing board and wonder what is the next plan.
Yeah, with the pressure there, it's not amounted to too much there over the NOOBPANZER side. And last time here again, it was NOOBPANZER that pushed the issue when they went for that aggressive sword play last round. So this time we'll see if what 4 fence have got to show for in these situations. Currently just spamming over from grass, just trying to see is any pipe going to land, any stray sticky going to chip some damage over onto perhaps GG or onto Piggles. And Demul, he's just going to jump straight in, gets one rocket over to Piggles, but Piggles really good movement in behind the logs. Voxy Yuji getting 3 kills between them.
Yeah, actually, this was just unlucky timing between everybody. I think when Brugman and Demul were going for that play, they ended up losing someone in Sawmill almost immediately, and I think Demul knocked away Piggles away from Brugman. If they had synced up the rockets a bit better, they probably could have clapped him at the same time, but no, they just kind of gave him a nice little surf out, and yeah, it all amounted to nothing.
Really important there, those 3 forward spawns came in with like half a second to spare over on the 4 fence side, but it might not matter because Ryan is in very deep and gets the drop.
He gets another bonus kill as well. I think everyone just kind of like huddled up at the right timing, and Ryan just I guess knew and managed to find not 1 rocket but 2 rocket kills onto probably the most important people at that time. And yeah, now you've got no medic, you've got Delhi though to set up some stickies on this last point ready, but they should be going in pretty lickety split.
Yeah, absolutely. The gun's still getting built. There's obviously the traps that are laid out onto point, but with a sniper and engineer, the only off classes that they've got, it's going to be potentially pretty nice for them to walk in on this. They're getting ready. They're
Yeah,
getting
they
ready. They got so much time. They're just getting set up, I think, because GG going to take the Uber in onto the gun instantly. Nevo in that spawn on the sniper isn't going to be able to find anything so far, but he's going to re-peek in and get the kill onto the down man of GG. D-Wheel in as well. 2 players down already for this attacking side. QB with the heavy on point. He's going to try and live for as long as he can, but does get taken down. But the damage is done, and they weren't able to deal with that heavy, and great shot on the sniper as well in the midst of that. And what a hold from Forfence. It was such a big disad, but again, we said even these adds into last, they're not a freebie. We've seen both teams mess these up already.
Yeah, it's just a lot to deal with, and I think it probably didn't help that Nevo was getting some nice little snipes from the left-hand door that's supposedly on lock, but was not really quite thrown away the key in that situation. But I think it all stemmed from them just waiting on Ryan. I think they really wanted Ryan involved in that push instead of just going in with the Uber early before they were all nice and set up with all their people and tools in hand over on Forfence, and now we're back on mid because of said mistake, and let's see how they can deal with this 100% advantage. Well, I say 100% advantage, 100% Uber on Forfence. And I guess they're just expecting them to kind of jump in and force the fights, which they are, and they probably could have done a better job of absorbing or kind of seeing coming. They had the Uber charge there to maybe kind of back onto, but instead they just let their people go and die and just hang out in second instead.
Yeah, losing a demo of Delhi as well is a pretty big one. But Hugie is in onto.
Oh my god!
This can't happen. This can't happen. 12 HP. That is ridiculous. Mula almost goes down to the heat. That's a ridiculous disrespect to run in like that.
Mula even got the health pack during all that, and he still had this scowl just like ravaging at him, and it was just really scary. Oh, it was a horror film. Finally, they managed to put the scary dog down, but my god, it was an anxiety-filled moment. They didn't quite spot the soldier there. We go well.
Jumped over his head.
Yeah. Puck does go down eventually, and from the numbers advantage alone, they should probably take this mid, and let's see how they convert it into the second point. They've been trading places here between these two teams this round.
Yeah, 2 forward spawns tonight means there is going to be some space to get going in, but Brian already up is going to be here in just a couple of seconds, so it's all in. Are they going to go in these next couple of seconds? It looks like they are going to try and start taking some space out towards the grass. Delhi lobbing some stickies over the top, just trying to get any lick of damage they can. GG has actually stood on top of a couple there as took a couple of chip shots, but that is all it's going to be. All the players back on both these sides now, and it's all about, is this space of grass really enough? D-Mule is the one landing in with a big sink onto the medic. Pickles drops. What a bomb from D-Mule, and gets 2 as well. It's literally the mirror image of the bomb we saw from Ryan just moments ago.
The only lifeline they have is Voxy. He's hiding in a corner, but QB smells him and he gets him. So that's 3 players down, no heals for this last one, and they're not making the same mistake that NOOBPANZER did. We're not waiting for you to set up. We're not waiting for you to get all the people. We've got our Uber, we've Ubered, and got our scout on the fling. We're even going to save him as well. So poor Joe takes matters into his own hands, jumps the point, just gets met with an Ubered scout. It's 3-0 for this Forfence team.
Yeah, that pressure was just so good. It was just enough distraction on that low ground that D-Will just comes in completely unnoticed from the source side and just high bombs some great rockets down onto Piggles and onto Hugie as well on that landing. And yeah, the sweep up was great. The hiding play was nice from Voxy, but at the end of the day, once that spotted that, you've got no scouts on last, and they're going to be respawning in. It's doom and gloom for that hold, and maybe it's doom and gloom for NOOBPANZER's chance in this map, because 3-0 down with 7 minutes left. There is time, but it's going to be so difficult. They've lost, I think, every mid-fight so far, so you've got to turn it around here and now if they're going to get back in.
Yeah, if you're feeling like an ETF2L favourite, these are the challenges that you're going to be met. When the chips are awfully down, you need to find your footing somehow, some way, and it does not start off with a Demoman death. That is a strong case to maybe losing this. So they throw in all the chips at poor Mula to hopefully maybe get a sort of war pick onto poor Mula, but doesn't quite work out. Pickles manages to keep himself alive though, so that's at least one lifeline they can clutch onto this round.
This is like not far off worst case scenario though, in terms of if Forfence wanted to be really horrible.
Oh, they've Ubered.
They can just sit here in a second, and the Adder's going to sit here. The Uber comes in, Yeah, because I was going to say NOOBPANZER like had to do something, because Forfeins can just sit here for 5 minutes if they really, really want. And the Uber charge comes in from Pickles, and yeah, Moolah just doesn't care. He's like, you know what? Your Uber used so much earlier. We can use, actually going to use anyway later. Well, they're going to try and go for this regardless. There's a fight on the flank between QB and Hughes, who's going to go for a backcab attempt, but there's these 4 players out in the lobby. We are into an absolute mass brawl on the second point, and it's a mass brawl still going the way of the French, as Delhi is getting knocked down into lower lobby as the last couple of players are feeding their way in. Voxy weak, Ryan weak underneath. A couple of nice rockets there from D-Moolah as well, as actually Moolah gets caught and Brugman gets caught as well. What on earth is going on? The Uber Saw is out from Piggles.
I mean, it's kind of wacky that they went for an Uber charge at that point over on Forfeins. I think they just really wanted to feel like, let's just keep this on lock. How could we possibly lose? But they just milk it, as in like they kite it, you know, just go away from the Uber lol. And yeah, then they just started to come back into the fight. So there were some very nice moments from both of these teams, really clutching out certain rockets, certain timings, and nice little DM overall. But Forfeins just seemed to kind of crumble just that little bit later, and the classes, the ones that like survive at the end, those are the ones that you don't want surviving at the end, like your soldiers and your demo men.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, it's already a bit advantage coming in. There's 20% ad. Moolah doesn't have yet, as the Uber charge is already onto lower. Mid-second one, Ulnu's getting capped up. D-Moolah getting caught out. Moolah, 95%, might not be getting Uber in time. He's going to fly towards the point. Are they going to get Uber? They do! The Uber comes out in the blue colours, and this might just be round saving. That was so close, and Moolah was so weak, down to single digits of health, but Forfeins hang on for at least another few more moments. Voxy goes down on the way in, Hughes is weak, Ryan's weak as well. It's Nuclear. Puck gonna try and jump in, does get onto Moolah, but at what cost? Everybody on the NOOBPANZER side is dead.
Oh, they even find Pickles as well, hiding in cheese, but I appreciate the efforts of change over on NOOBPANZER. They wanted to go immediately this time, but they couldn't quite find the picks and the footings, and I think it didn't help that their scout really wasn't quite prepared for what to do after the Uber. Usually you have the scout already on the point for Forfeins, but they just took so long with Voxy to address this, and by the time he got onto the point, it was a little bit late. And another thing as well, I've seen soldiers jump to point. I've even seen demo men jump to point to defend it on Snake. I've never seen a medic jump to point to defend it. Moolah just flying in with the Uber charge.
Well, if you're Uber, then why not? You're not putting yourself in any danger. As yeah, well, Forfeins don't put themselves in any danger at this point either, because they're currently just able to chill. They've even got Uber out because Piggles has gone down in that last exchange, but there's 3 minutes left, 3 rounds to find. I think we are actually into the realms of impossibility now rather than improbability, as yeah, midpoint already maybe going to be a freebie as well. Kritzkrieg up from Piggles, and does that maybe spell game over?
But yeah, you're seeing the structure, you're seeing the very nicely designed sort of allocations of plays for Forfeins, especially when it comes to the last push and the decisions there. And you're even seeing some very good DM and like sort of skirmishing power from Forfeins to boot as well. And everyone seems to have been played a part here over on that side. And over on NOOBPANZER, I think it just comes down to a lot of these mids were just kind of lost away from them, and then you pushed into this poor last. Moolah kind of embarrassing Piggles there in that final moment of the game.
Yeah, Brugman was close with his airshot attempt as well. They were all having a go. You see one soldier flies up when there's 2 minutes in the clock, and everyone's like, right, this one's off straight on the frag movie. If we hit this, you may as well go for it. I respect it. But we'll see now if anything's going to come. I think last couple of minutes, it's going to be actually a decent ad. I wasn't sure how big the ad was going to be. I just saw Piggles spawning up on the crits now, so there is potential it's going to fall round, obviously, just the state of logs, and maybe if it gets to the ridiculous like 3rd level of tiebreakers at the end of the season. But you want to play for it, it's good practice, and it's good sportsmanship. So we'll see if Forfeins are able to get a 4th one on the board when the Ruby charge comes up. They're at 90% now, and Puck is very weak, and Lobby is just about going to escape. Piggles on the crit, still at 60%, might be getting this in time for later on in this fight, but they've got to survive that long in the first place. Nevo straight onto point, getting a good amount of cap time as well before getting flashed. Sticky's still on there, have not been dead just yet. Big damage though from Ryan onto that point, cleaning it up, and maybe they are going to hang on over on NOOBPANZER as D-Mill gets caught out too, and it looks like we're going to maybe be finishing a 3-0.
Poor Moolah left behind in the lower area, but I mean with 100% Kritzkrieg, I mean unless that, you know, you pop that crits and it gives you a round every time, there's nothing that's going to really come from this. It's mainly, so I'm going to give a bit of a dash of salt and pepper to any sort of decisions and how things are being made in these final moments of the game. You know, it doesn't really matter, so the players should know that. They're going to get a bit loosey-goosey with it.
Well, there's a spy and a sniper on the field at the moment from the full fence side, so we know exactly what they're thinking of. The worst bit is I'd hate to be a medic when it gets this sort of time in the game, because both you have both your scouts. It's like, yeah, where's going to go for another funny frag movie glitch? It's like, where's I'm the victim of the frag movie. I'm going to be the one getting targeted on. But I say that actually, I said there was maybe going to be 3-0. There is actually a chance if this crits is good. There is still potential, so maybe we lock back in again, because this push is going to be ready to come in. Pickles 80% on that crit screen. They're waddling in already, though. GG's come very, very far, but Pickles are getting absolutely demolished in the back line.
Yeah, I watched for all of that entire sort of play of Paul Kit. Wow, nice little pipe from GG there to finish off Ujman Deli. Oh my goodness! Oh my god!
Oh, well.
Well, I mean, if that doesn't end the game, like, I don't know what will.
Yeah, dear me, that was a good attempt at the block, but yeah, deleted in the blink of an eye to finish that one. It was a 3-1, and honestly, yeah, I think on the balance of play, I think NOOBPANZER deserved a round. They had a couple of good chances earlier on, but yeah, one consolation round in the last 10 seconds isn't exactly ideal, because yeah, for offense they were in decent control, and I've got to say, obviously you saw. Obviously, the game in week 1 against Random. There was the game last week again where they dropped behind. Like, maybe this is when we're seeing Forfans sort of come together, because we know this is what they're capable of. They're capable of performances like this, where they take on the very, very best and everything works for them. So it is great to see, and there's maybe another map of this coming up later on.
Yeah, this is looking like a strong map for them, and I think we'll be seeing a lot of this if we're seeing a lot of Forfans. So very, very, very nice sort of game to watch. Again, NOOBPANZER, they weren't exactly offending me with any of their plays or any of their like attempts, issues, and all this stuff. Honestly, a nice little clash between two titans. So I'm very looking forward to this. I believe it's Sunshine pick now. Yes, Sunshine pick for NOOBPANZER. If you're on the side of Forfans, everything's going to plan. You win your map pick. So maybe it might be the same for NOOBPANZER as well. But again, you saw them adjusting on the fly as well for NOOBPANZER. Any issues I had, like, you know, just when they want to take these Ubers in. And there was a good bit of variety from both teams about like how they want to approach things. It wasn't really predictable at all. I'm trying to think of somebody that I need to like wag the finger at, but I think I'm just liking all what I'm seeing, Ben.
Yeah, no, I think it's been a really, really high level performance all around. And like, let it be known, I think this could be a rematch in playoffs later on this season. I think these are two of the teams that we're looking at. Like, when I was sort of in my head, sort of making like a sort of power ranking before the season, I was having both these teams up towards the top in my estimations to start with. And yeah, it was a really high quality game. And I think if there's no one I can think is screaming out. I think Moolah obviously had a very, very good game. I thought at certain times we had a couple of like suspect pops from both these medics, but I guess it's the sort of thing with these teams that they were still willing to try and catch teams out and catch their opponents out. That sort of does happen, but yeah, they were very, very hard to pin down. They both, yeah, it was a really good game.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to cheat a little bit. I'm going to see if the logs can guide me, perhaps, to the correct answer. But it just reminds me that Demol did have a very good game. He was very impactful on these post-Ubers. Obviously, had a good time on mid because I didn't see him as the first one dying in the little kill ticker, which I can't say for Ryan and Puck. Ryan and Puck, they were just feeling the heat, or they just weren't feeling it over on these mid fights, and that's really what kind of got them snowballing out of control to start off with over on Forfans.
Yeah, absolutely. Those mid fights. That's the thing as well. I think that's the most telling stat of this whole game from the logs. It's not like anyone's DPM or anyone's KD. It was the fact there was 5 mid fights, and all 5 of them were won by Forfans.
Yeah, and not all of them in the same traditional sense as well. I think there were times that they were going aggressive. There was those extreme chases to the extreme defenses. The one where we had a second mid fight, which is always kind of pear-shaped and weird, no matter what level of TF2 you're playing. So truly a well-balanced TF2 diet for these teams. But one just came prepared with the mid fights, and also they did very well to kind of recognize how to capture these last points as well when they had the advantage overall. It felt like very much a lock for Forfans, while NOOBPANZER, they still have some things to iron out there.
Yeah, I guess that the one thing we didn't really see is obviously we had 5 minutes right at the very, very start of that game where Forfens were basically locked out completely by NOOBPANZER. There was the gun up, there was the sniper up, there were traps everywhere, the soldiers bombing everything, and it was looking impenetrable. Looking back at it, I don't actually think Forfens ever beat that defense. Every push they had was an ad that they got somewhere else on the map, either from a
Yeah.
mid fight or from a fight on second or whatever it may be. So maybe that's like something we could be a weakness for later on, because that 5 minutes, honestly, I wasn't too convinced in terms of what they could offer. But yeah, they can get rounds without that just by winning mid fights harder or winning second points. But if you're not getting the first round, if you go a round down, or if you're pushing for time later on in the game, like you can't rely on just getting rounds off of mid fights in the long term, or off of like trade plays happening around the second point. So maybe that's something to look at. But on the whole, the first win on the board for Forfens this season, and it's a very, very big one, taking on top of the table NOOBPANZER, who've had their first map drop, as they've won by various high scores so far this season. But it's their pick now. Their time for redemption. Their time to go to CP Sunshine, which is a map that, as I said before, it wasn't a flattering performance when we saw Forfens on this through the week against Garda. It was a very, very scrappy, very messy. So this is maybe the punish pick coming out from the NOOBPANZER side.
Are you expecting much adaptation here, Ben, when it comes to these Prem teams? Are they actually able to take in a lot of lessons learned from just 1 week and then absorb it into the next gameplay? Or does it actually take quite a while before these teams kind of overhaul their maps?
Well, I'd imagine it would do, surely, because like it was. I think it was maybe even less than a week ago. I can't remember the exact day, but obviously there's people have got things going on in their lives, and maybe there's been like a few scrims since then. Like people aren't playing full time, obviously. So it's like it's about, have they like looked at it and reviewed it. I think that the biggest things we noticed last week was the mids were really, really rough. They were getting caught. There was soldiers landing in their own choke every mid and just completely cutting off Moolah and Delhi from the rest of the team, and it was been a real thorn. But I'm sure they'll have studied those mid fights at least. Maybe the rest of the map less so, because it's less of like a set play, right? But mid fights, they can be the same every time you do the same. Like you can prep for exactly every exact like minute detail, like a corner in football. You can see, oh, we're all going to go and stand in these places and do this or whatever. Whereas in a more freeform situation, you can't micro that much. But I still think, yeah, clearly NOOBPANZER feel confident on this one, so I think this could be a good ground for them for redemption, because yeah, it was only like 6 days ago that match against Ghana happened, so it's not been a great deal of time for Forfeds to make sweeping changes.
Now, as it comes to mid fights versus mid fights, and just maybe I'm trying to draw in relation with not so much their performances in past games, but mainly just from this official. Obviously, it seems like the one that kind of went aggressive usually kind of struggled a bit, or it didn't really seem to fare well. And now that we're going over to Sunshine, it just makes me think it plays a bit more into Forfence's sort of hand of like the counter jumping and just seeing what goes on. Or I don't know, do you think there is some room for some aggression on this mid?
You certainly can, because this is what Garda did last week, is they were hurling soldiers in with fast rollouts and getting aggressive into enemy valley, into enemy choke, into cafe, such a thing. But yeah, the more traditional way is you just sort of play the rotational spam game, like you say, just counter jump on and off the tower in the middle, and just try and go for that one pick, and then try and crush your opponents afterwards. So yeah, maybe that does play into Forfence's hands, but maybe it plays into NOOBPANZER's hands as well, right? Because we know that they struggle particularly with their like aggressive soldier bombers to enemy high ground last time, where like we saw Ryan and Poke getting caught out a couple of times. So yeah, I think it could be anyone's game really in that regard. But I do want to see what happens on the last point, because I'm maybe of the controversial opinion. I think Sunshine last is at least as hard to get into a snake, or it's comparable.
I know what you
And
mean. I think it's in the same
Moolah,
tier,
like,
but I
yeah,
don't
it's the same
think it's.
tier.
I don't think it's maybe beat for beat, but I think it's trying to make a case for itself. I think it comes down to these the teams. I think everyone's kind of figured out Snake Water in a way. I don't think there's going to be any new tech or anything like that. But Sunshine, you still see some players kind of switching sides, where people should hold, where they put the sentry guns, are they holding close, are they holding back, all that jazz. So at least there's that variety. Anyway, if you're just joining us, this is our coverage of the ETF2L 6v6 Autumn. It is NOOBPANZER versus Forfens. We're on our second map, and let's see if they can tie it up here over on NOOBPANZER, or if they're going to take the win all the way over on Forfens. Ben, what's happening?
Looks like a clockwise bid from both these teams. There's Ryan thinking about sneaking in from his own cafe, but decides to go back towards the choke, go for the big bomb.
Demol, the walking bomb, the stylish bomb, but he can't quite get the pick onto Pickles, and actually finally goes down from a random deli pipe, believe it. And yeah, I mean, despite them buying all that time and wait for Demol to kind of come in big, he just doesn't quite find the kill. And credit to Pickles, he made it difficult for him with a surf away blind straight away.
Yeah, and Voxy getting a 3k there over towards the right side of the middle. The reason they call it the death corner is because a lot of dying often occurs there, and it certainly did for that combo over on the forefence side. So they're going to have to set back up on their own last. We're in the reverse situation of where we were here on Snakewater. It's going to be a second point taken for free very, very early on from the red team of NOOBPANZER. So now we'll see for the first time this game really what this like uber advantage attack is looking like over from the NOOBPANZER side. And like we said before, it's not an easy map to get into over in Sunshine. Very, very tight doorways, very, very close range, very splashable. They get ready to start working their way through, and they're actually building a fair bit of an ad here. Mula was dying. Mula died late on that bidder, was Mula just not building well because Mula's only at 80%.
Yep, and oh my god, he's feeling the hate now, and yeah, because of all that sort of attention that Soldier brought initially, and they haven't really got anyone set up for the point itself. They cut this one really quickly over on the side of NOOBPANZER. Tidy.
I completely called off. I just assumed it would be roughly even, and I think Forfins did as well, but Mula just getting completely caught with those Ubers, and yeah, great use in, and 2 minutes in, what a start it's been for NOOBPANZER.
Yeah, it didn't seem to feel like any resistance coming from any sort of point there over. I kind of wondered why they were even rocking certain aspects of their defense at all, but you know, I'm just gonna pretend a bug flew into my eye or something and just pretend that didn't quite happen, and I'm sure they'll do it on the side of Forfence as we go into another mid. It's one round, but beginner's luck as we are trading soldiers, but not quite in the same destinations as one expect. Mula rotating all the way to enemy territory here. You can have these weird situations where you're kind of trapped behind enemy lines, but they haven't quite got Uber charged. It's QB just fighting off an entire team. I'm busy looking at the combo of Mula and Nevo and all them lot, and they're challenging nobody because poor QB is just manhandling them on his own on the other side of the map.
Well, QB got the kill on Pickles, ran into Cafe, and then was chased back by 2 players, and got the kill onto Hughie, and then was just running around and baiting Voxy around, waiting for that Spawner to come, which Bruisman is able to clean up. And this could be a very, very quick start to this game, because mid-fight number 1, of course, went the way of NOOBPANZER into a quick round conversion, and now in basically the same situation, it's going to be Forfence with the full ad, getting ready to walk in. As a full ad, Pickles at 65% is going to be getting Uber soon, so it has to be a quick one as the Uber comes in from this far left.
Yeah, they instead Uber in straight from that far left side. Usually it's the other way around, but I guess they wanted to address this sentry gun immediately. Pyro's on the deck, keeping that point cleared and hot, literally, as the heavy weapons guy is starting to put in the work. They finally pop off the Uber because so much time was bought between all these bits and pieces of NOOBPANZER, and they do get out with their remainers over on Forfence. This does allow them a chance to kind of build an Uber advantage now and go back into the thick of things, but they couldn't quite do it the first time, and I'm not sure they'll be able to pull it off the second time as well.
This is one of the maps where I feel like I see this happening more often than others. Is this situation where you have an ad of, say, 30 to 40%, and you push it goes slightly wrong, but not horrendously that you're getting wiped, but it goes wrong enough that the Uber charge is able to come up for the enemy medic, and then you have to basically go back and you just take the 40 head again and come back in. And we're going to see round number 2 this time coming in from underneath. This gun taken down very, very quickly. A bit of residual cap time as well. The last push means the point cap slightly faster, and second time round it is that slight bit easier for Forfence to come in and win the round.
Very nicely played by the scouts there, and very nicely played by Mula as well. Just keeping that scout alive for that little bit longer does kind of just add a little bit of insurance to things, and very nice sort of tag team between the scouts to one initially get the cap, blow off the stickies, and then they get that forward cap with the other scout as well. Very nicely played and adjusted.
Yeah, we are at absolute breakneck pace. 2 rounds down, and there's only 5 minutes played so far, and we're already into mid-fight number 3. We've had differing fates on both these previous 2 for these 2 teams, so we'll see what they've got to show for this time. Poke jumping in very aggressive, and it's massive damage over onto Mula, onto Deli as well, who's so weak. Pickles living for now is sneaking out to enemy valley to get the pack. And seems like Piggles will be fighting to live and living to fight another day as he gets the pack, and there's one threat left, and that is Nevo, who's had to go behind, but they all know he's there.
Both of these soldiers on both teams are just playing this game of peekaboo, where it seems to be holding out in Cafe, who can kind of fake that they're not in Cafe the most, and then just walk out. And it seems the timing was just a little bit better over on the side of Ryan and company, so they go in, they claim their free medic kill, and then from that point on they could just play the heals. And Nevo is a headache. He's not quite the migraine that they need, but he's a headache right now.
Yeah, you've got to be careful in these situations where you like play behind like this with full list, that you don't put your team into a 5v6. They are going to, okay, this is something you can go for. In the meantime, there isn't Ubercharge being used in on the last point with GG doing big damage over towards the combo, but they're actually getting blasted back. Nevo is in aggressively as well and catches Hugie on the way back out. Pickles goes down too, and maybe the backup play was the genius that they needed, because I've imagined the comms on NOOBPANZER were just in complete disarray there. There was players pulled back all over the shop. The Ubercharge was going in, there were players running back into lobby. It was utter pandemonium in that lobby area, and it's going to work perfectly for Forfins. Do not trust me at all. Nevo did great work.
Yeah, and it's not like that they had the solid defense of Muller and his Ubercharge. He didn't quite have it at that moment, so if they committed in with all their players, I think there's a good chance they probably would have won that 6v5. Ryan trying to force out the Uber close to the cafe door, doesn't quite get on top of Muller, just gets a death to his name. And I mean, it's made things a bit awkward and pear-shaped, and they're not really feeling it over on Forfins. Probably helps the fact that their flank team, they went down during all that.
Yeah, losing 2 players is kind of brutal. Puck is in!
He can't quite get on top of Muller though. Nice little sort of surfs, and yeah, manages to keep himself perfectly alive. Puck is going to come back to the forward respawn. Nobody looks like they want to go back to get an off class of any sort, so yeah, let's just see what... They could maybe afford over on Forfins to put somebody all the way back to respawn and go for an off class, but I think they're just hoping that they can convert things off quickly here.
Yeah, it was nice work there on that spam game and the pressure in towards Cafe from NOOBPANZER, because getting those 2 kills, like, make no mistake about it, Forfins were getting ready to use that advantage in, but losing 2 for 1 on the way through, it makes it so much scary to take those Ubers in, because you cover so much less ground with 4 people obviously than 6, and your flanks aren't getting cleared as well, and they just decided, you know what, we're not going to risk it, we're not going to go for some high risk Uber charge with a player down into mid, we're just going to chill back and just take the even Uber situation, and we're going to wait for these bombs to come in. Ryan with a very high bomb in through Valley, but it's going to do no damage.
I'm just watching the mini war between Brugman and Puck really having his number. But it's fine, soldier for soldier. They do try and maybe grease the wheels of activity. Oh, nice little set of pipes and stickies from Delhi to push a wandering Voxy there. I think they were all trying to just opt for some pressure there, realising that with Brugman down, head kind of taken out of the body, maybe they can make a play, but wasn't quite the big brain play they were hoping. As they just reset, and again, let's see what they can kind of cook up, because they've tried everything here. They've tried throwing players in, they've tried pressuring all at the same time, seeing what cracks, but nothing's coming up through for Paul NOOBPANZER. Yeah,
these bombs from Ryan have honestly, they've looked threatening. It's just been well dealt with by Muller. Muller's been very aware, and so have Nevo and QB as well. They've both been very close to Muller. Both always at the eye out, and again the bomb comes in from Ryan this time. It's just going to try and go underneath and behind, so that's actually drawn 2 players back into lobby, as this soldier's going to try and get in onto dungeon. Team Mule might be taking the better of this one though. Yeah, Ryan goes down.
You gotta give credit to these teams and their variety of things. They don't like to tackle the same problem more than twice with, you know, the same sort of bomb or solution. They are trying people behind, they're trying to jump people in, they're trying pressure. Soon they're really just going to have to come down to like off classes or just trying stuff again at this point.
Base jumper.
Oh, he said it. He said the word.
The funny parachute. No, maybe not on this one, but maybe they can go for the spy. And you called it. The off classes are in. Hugie is out of spawn on the French class against the French team, and it's going to be Valley, the port of call for this sneak in. Going in behind now, just gonna get some space in the lobby.
Yep, gets a health pack, gets a ammo pack onto his name. Now the advantage of this is he is uncloaking. He gets right on top of Muller. Nice little ice statue for them to just kind of ponder their mistakes. Poor. Poor Moolah. So with an overcharge completely out of the equation, it should be kind of easy pickings now, right?
Oh,
Right?
absolutely. Brugman getting caught out as well in Cafe was very, very aggressive. Maybe trying to get that force, but Pickles is so far back, so aware of the possibility that he's only just coming in. It's now.
Oh,
no! What?
The trap. It must have got somebody in round point, I believe. I can't even see the bodies they were killed off. I think they were hidden in the rocks. As, yeah, managed to get a double kill. I mean, in the grand scheme, though, they still have an Uber charge, and those players will come back from the dead, so what does this really delay, apart from a nice little kind of clip?
Yeah, well, Moolah's at 50%, so I think that there could be a big difference here, because Moolah's going to be, what, 75-ish% by the time this push comes in. There is definitely a world that they can hang on to this point for long enough for Moolah's Uber charge to be part of the equation. Gun taken down already, though, and pressure is maybe going to be onto this point soon, but there's so many stickies, and there's even Brugman on it too. Moolah is going to get this Uber charge. It's open, ready to use now, but are they going to even need to use it? Nevo has been caught out there. Maybe are going to be jumping into Uber charge used out from 4 fence.
Oh.
Finally, nice shots there as well from Delhi. But 1-for-1, Uber charges used. Pickles, bit of an ad for the re-engagement if they want to go for it, or they can maybe just pressure in already.
Yeah, they're pressuring him from the side, and they had the audacity to times 4 on the cap. There's a pain train afoot, I think, from Hugo. Ryan trying to get his pinky toe on it, but the scouts cut him off at the last moments there. And yeah, I think they hadn't quite equated for that soldier pain train to kind of rear its head in. Everyone was in panic station, and poor Ryan, he was trying to finish it off, but everybody would just had enough sort of force to kind of get themselves onto that situation. But yeah, maybe a bit greedy from QB and company to set up a sentry gun whilst they were trying to recommit him with the push. Adds a bit of kind of delay to things.
Yeah, possibly. It's but now they're gonna face the punishment because Pickles has an Uber charge again, and this time the Uber from Moolah is not an equation at all. This Uber charge will not be coming up, barring some heroics with the Uber saw. But actually, Voxy caught out on the point. That's Pocket Scout down on the way in. That's going to make it so much harder. And Brugman doing massive damage, jumping up towards top left, and that is it. The push is over. It's done. No scouts. They might be in even more trouble trying to get out of this second point as QB was chasing, Brugman chasing as well. Players have evacuated on the NOOBPANZER side, but for offense, they might want to go even further here. There's, was that 1 or 2 spawns denied? I think only 1, but even still, there's space, there's Uber ad. Why not go for it?
Yeah, they haven't quite got the Uber, but they're basically going to get it during this push now. Oh my god, Brugman gets snipes in the middle of the air. Fortunately, he has enough HP on the lad to kind of keep himself alive, and I think they were kind of hoping that snipe pick was going to be enough to sway things, so they just back out cleanly once that doesn't pan out for NOOBPANZER. And yeah, 100% overcharged now for both of these two teams. Very nice. I mean, it seems like an Aeon ago, but I want to talk about that last little bit. It just seems to be all the situations were going right for fence. Like, they managed to actually get a pick onto a scout class that was kind of cheesing the point straight away, and then they even managed to get a couple of people caught at the doorway. QB survived on minimal HP. There was a lot of like 1% plays there that went very fortunate for fence to kind of make it to mid now.
Yeah, absolutely, and yeah, I think the big one there was that scout getting caught at the point. There was no point presence at all, and that Uber was basically toothless. As soon as the pocket scout goes down, they were in so much trouble. The Uber charge was just fading as well, and yeah, that just puts a complete end to it. And it's actually fortunate from the NOOBPANZER side to not lose even more players when they were trying to escape out to the lowest. Even losing players, QB nearly overstepped, escaped on 2 HP. Over on Valley, so that means that Valley is going to get conceded for a moment. But yeah, NOOBPANZER don't want to walk too far forward. They don't want to over-aggress. Yeah, Ryan knows that. Knows not to know the boundaries. But we'll see now. We saw for a while before it was the spy on the NOOBPANZER side that got them out of the reverse situation. So we'll see this time what 4 fence are going to go for. But so far it just seems like just pressuring from Valley, pressuring from Choke, and just perhaps waiting for Brugman to strike at the opportune moment from Cafe. Oh, but Beefs the jump through. That's unfortunate.
Yeah, just meets a bit of spam at the start there. Demo going in. I'm not sure if this was supposed to be a sync play, but doesn't quite find the damage that he was looking for with just the single bombing in. Fortunately, the beauty of just throwing in one soldier is like it's a lot less risky. Oh, I say a lot less risky. Delhi kind of holding close, wants to take out the Demoman, but loses his life because of it. And now the doorway is open for Voxy to come in with this Uber charge. They are milking it though over on Moolah, and now they pop off their own Uber charge. Nevo's got a nice, well, I say a nice single Uber. They include a soldier in for some random reason, and yeah, okay, now they can't really chase that Piggles now.
Yeah, maybe Piggles was just about far enough out of choke, but it was right, and yeah, the Uber charge comes out eventually, and yeah, Moolah, unless he was going to hold on for the entire Uber without using it, I'm not sure it makes that massive of a difference there, yeah, because it's so hard to chase through. So nice escape there from Piggles and Voxy on that. Nevo, oh dear.
Yeah, he just ran in. He ran in and just a bunch of stickies, and this is enough for NOOBPANZER, it looks like, to push in. They are more than happy to oblige and start poking at these doorways, and it looks like Valley's pretty clear. Ryan's in. Manages to maybe get into Cafe as well, so that's going to be a headache for Forfence to think about and deal with. Ryan, though, he's meeting another scout behind.
D-Mule.
They get more players bleeding in. Puck manages to go a bit too far, though, kind of commits himself in. Ryan actually getting a trading kill onto Moolah from behind, so that Ryan play really working out dividends, and they've got this heals still on the side of NOOBPANZER, and they know what game to play here. Just play the heal, and after a duck hunting session later, they will manage to walk away with this mid.
Yeah, everyone on the Forfence side, they're so weak at the end, they can't even go for some sort of impromptu sack wave there over onto Piggles, because there's about 300 health between them, and yeah, they all have to run all the way back. It's going to be gun going up, Pyro was up for a moment, it's going to be swapping over onto a sniper on Nevo, and just moments ago, we were sat in an even situation over on NOOBPANZER's second point, and it's been a complete flip of the script now as another ad push goes the way of the red, but can they convert it this time? We've seen a couple of mishaps in these last two, so is it going to go better?
Yeah, so they knocked the sniper away from the perch straight away, and they've got the sentry gun over on the other side. It's annoying when you Uber in from one side and the sentry gun's on the other. They can't really quite aggress into them, but they delay ever so slightly. They spam down the sentry gun and they just push all of their forces in one by one. And then when there's effectively just one door for everybody of Forfence to get out of, it makes it very easy for them to just kite them into that last little point over on NOOBPANZER. 2-1.
Yeah, really nice stuff, and yeah, they were all huddling around that like right side door from like the defender's perspective, but once they're just sort of locked in place, then no one can even think about getting to the point, never mind blocking it. So that's the conversion that they needed. It's been a fair few chances so far for NOOBPANZER, but that's the one that they needed. Got themselves their 1 round lead again. Last time this lead lasted about a minute, maybe a minute and a half. So we'll see this time if it's going to last any longer. We've got in the mid-fight, and these have been quick and fast previously. These are going to be quick and fast again. Who's been jumping in very, very deep over onto GG, who's actually been able to live. Nice arrow from Piggles onto him as QB and Denley go down the opposite side. Ryan is traded out, but this is picks very much going in the favour of the red. Hugely very aggressive, disrespecting over towards the choke, and Puck flying in too, and NOOBPANZER smell blood and they want to fight.
Yeah, it was credit to Ryan there. I mean, whilst he didn't quite get a kill on anyone, he bought a lot of room for his team, because he spent a long time just alive and just a nuisance to the Forfence team to clean up and deal with, and turned their attention, literally turned them around, made them look away from the rest of NOOBPANZER, and they just started walking across and gaining good ground.
Yeah, of course, and now we're slow things down, I guess. The aggression did come in. Puck went in for an aggressive bomb there onto Moolah before the setup's in. It's the easiest time to go for these bombs to try and get that force, or potentially even that drop over onto Moolah, but not going to matter as the spawn comes in. Hugely going to pick up the sniper this time. It's Hugie's turn on it, and onto Sunshine last. It can have varied effects, but I've seen it have a fair bit of success this season on a few teams. Mostly just picking the soldiers off when they're trying to stand on height, especially when they're trying to hold this left-hand side. So we'll see where Hugie decides to peek from and who might be a victim.
Alright. Peeking on the left, so meets with a soldier. Nothing too surprising there, but they should be aware that this sniper is a force now over on NOOBPANZER's side. And yeah, they even managed to get the pick from Demo, very nicely paid, and just had a good game sense to know when he's about to come around that corner. Alright.
Yeah, really nice rockets.
So Hugie, he has an option. He could go back as sniper again, have another crack at it, or maybe the spy class, because that worked out quite well, or maybe just just the sniper again. So, I mean, I like it. It's eventually, if you're just given enough opportunity, you roll enough of that sniper class die, you're going to get, 6 on you instead of like your double snake eyes. So let's see if the man can trust the statistics and find the pick onto anyone.
Yeah, and see who's going to be the first one to jump back in. It looks like D-Mule is the one tasked with it once more, but this time isn't able to get as much damage. He's going to have to jump away, so going to have to go back for some heals. But they did get enough damage over onto the sniper of Hughie. That means Hughie has to rotate around, get some health back to the medic, get rid of the buff, and try and peek top right. But top right with the gun right there is going to be so hard to make anything work. It's really going to have to be dungeon or that far left side for this peek in, but no one's facing it. They're not playing anyone aggressive on the crate. Watching this this far side over on 4 fence, so yeah, it's all going to have to be just a wide swing, and D-Mule has had that unlocked so far.
Yeah, I think he feels a bit pressured in the sense that he doesn't want to play through dungeon too aggressively because his team's not with him. They're trying to play for a pick on the left-hand side. I'm not sure if that was just like a, haha, look, we're supposedly defending a sniper here when we're not. He does get a pick onto Demo, but once they get the kill onto him, that's effectively a trade for trade, and this is all going to plan. If you're on 4th fence here, you want to delay the time.
Yeah, absolutely. As a maybe, oh, I thought both soldiers maybe going down for a moment there. Puck is able to just about scoot away on a little over like 20 HP before the pack was taken. And yeah, Hughie again going to be swapping over onto the sniper once more. And yet, these soldiers over on 4th fence, like you say, they've done such a good job. Even there, when D-Mule goes down for it, there's so much damage dealt, and they're so aware of it. The sniper's gone down, that's the important pick for these players, and especially with Deli aware of it too. Deli's got traps on this side often as well. It just means that these soldier bombers that come in later on, they're just effectiveness. They're ineffective completely.
Yeah, and I struggle to think of like what plays they can make outside of the sniper class. I don't think it's the most friendly spy class on the planet as well when it comes to this last point. I wouldn't know how to... Oh, is this a pause?
Yeah, I guess the thing with spy, right, is that it's sort of at least this season, the meta has been to run perma-pyro on defense, and that doesn't bode too well if they find out that you've got a spy, because they're running the pyro anyway. But yeah, we've had a pause for whatever reason, and yeah, we'll have to keep updated if we hear anything about that. We can't speculate too much. Hopefully, it's not anything too drastic like a disconnect or a internet timeout or a freeze or anything like that. Hopefully, it's just like a round's happened and we're having a tactical.
Well, it's 90 seconds into the future, right? So, I mean, with 90 seconds left on the, I think roughly on the round, maybe it might be coming after a little round reset, but it could also mean that somebody managed to cap off this last point over on NOOBPANZER as well. So, really, there's no telegraphed easy way to cheat this over in spectator land. So, be waited with bated breath. But yeah, as when it comes to just this last point that 4th fence have to offer, it's much stronger this time. I wonder if it's down to the fact that I think this is the first ad versus ad defense we've had. I think every other time has just been 4th fence kind of scrambling against an Uber charge that Piggles has equipped. So it seems if they do get into a true stalemate, they can make this last hold, but when the advantage goes over them, they kind of crumble.
Yeah, the hard bit about these holds though is like, yeah, it's great if you're weathering the storm, and yeah, like as I've mentioned before, D-Mule and Deli between them, they've had Hughie on lock, but Hughie doesn't care if he loses the fight 4 times in a row, and then on the 5th one peeks in and kills Medic and Demo, for example. Like Hughie only needs to win once, whereas D-Mule and Deli have to be winning every time. But the consistency they're showing so far is great, but maybe. It's the thing of maybe NOOBPANZER are like, well, we'll keep going for it because we trust that eventually the hero shot will come through and it'll land. But yeah, like at some point, when do you decide, you know what, we're going to go away from that, we're going to try and run a different off class, we're going to try and take trades in, we're going to try and just purely play for soldier sacks. But for now, it's still going to be huge, and it's still going to be this peek in from this far left side with D-Mule and Dilly just hiding behind the pillar for now, waiting for the opportune moment to bomb in.
I mean, we say that time is on side for 4th fence or something in these situations, or in both these teams, but the more we drag this picture out just ever so between these two teams, the time seems to portray them back and forth.
There's the pick.
They do get the pick onto Delhi, and they even get a pick onto D-Maul as well, with the Zeraman kind of playing at the doorway. Moolah is caught behind a post, can't really support his team, who are getting pushed and pressured on the left-hand side. They're getting picked one by one. QB has to come back, but he's disconnected from the rest of his team. They finally pop off Uber on both teams. This is probably a sigh of relief for Forfence than it is for NOOBPANZER, because they get I say they get respawners. They've come back and they've immediately been gobbled up by NOOBPANZER. They're going to recommit back in with their soldiers.
Big bomb! D-Maul's got nuclear in dungeon.
Yeah, he manages to find all three of those players that were just being an absolute pestilence to him on that sort of respawn queue. Gets back now. Piggles manages to keep himself alive, so that's 50% to maybe have some hope in. And Pug, he's going to get a buff. He's hiding in dungeon, but doesn't really want to commit.
Yeah, decides to give it in. Decides, you know what, we'll just go back to the mid-fight. We're going to go not oversell too much. But yeah, I think there that Uber charge being used up by NOOBPANZER, it just works completely in Forfence's favour. They're happy to have that trade come in, and then 8 seconds later, they know that they're going to get their spawners through. And yeah, you said Delhi got caught in the spawners, but they had plenty more of the spawners coming through too. And like I said, D-Maul was one of them and managed to get 2 3/4 kills on the way out through lower. But there's still, for Forfence, surviving that is only half the battle, because there's 5 minutes 40 seconds left to play. There's still a round down. NOOBPANZER still in the lead, and NOOBPANZER's mids have looked very good so far. Is it going to be fast aggression again onto Pickles or onto GG, or is it going to be something a bit slower? It seems like we're slightly slower, but not too slow. GG already taken down by the waddle bomb, but straight in behind from D-Maul.
Yeah, but Moolah gets cleaned up as well from the aggressive puck, and Ryan is coming to kind of clean up kill over from Cafe. It seems a slightly different ordering between these two teams. D-Maul just kind of going solo YOLO from the Cafe, whilst instead Ryan is the one that's following up the bombs from Cafe.
Yeah, the timing was so good from Ryan, like you say, following up the damage, following up the distraction. No one was looking at all, and he's able to get all the important kills onto Moolah and onto the rest of that combo, as Deadly fell very early as well. So despite losing GG instantly in that mid, it doesn't matter if your soldiers are going to do all the damage later on. And again, another time we said before, these even Uber stalemates not going well for either of these teams really across these two maps, but this is a lot better than that. The Uber charge used in from dungeon already. Moolah nowhere near getting an Uber up of his own. Spawn's getting locked out already. There's so much space, but there's still traps at the point to clear. QB is going to get a kill into Puck, and maybe these traps aren't getting cleared fast enough, because Foxy does get the kill into Delhi eventually. That holds. It's so dicey.
There's nobody aggressing. There's nobody. Your QB is getting the battering of everybody here, and it doesn't help with the Deraman going down so early. But I mean, the fortune favors them as they managed to find enough time. I think just NOOBPANZER were playing very defensive there to say that they take out a free Deraman pick. I don't know why Delhi went down the way he did, but yeah, caught away from his team. Puck, sadly, is on spy class during all this. I think he didn't expect all the players kind of go down like they did. Is he going to give a sniper, a spy? Excuse me, a scout class? Why?
Did D-Maul not? I thought D-Maul looked straight away. They fell for the disguise, I suppose, but Pokey's in onto Moolah. Oh, I mean, there goes the hopes.
That is a very wacky time to go spy, I think, during all of that, because I think they must have thought, like, this is a failed push. Everybody just back off from this last point, and I'll go spy. And yeah, like even though they randomly got a free Delhi pick, they committed to their plan, and the plan seems to be maybe working out now. They have 100% Uber charge on Piggles. They weirdly still have Puck on spy though. Like I guess maybe going back to the respawn the old-fashioned way, just walking there. And this gives a bit of time for Forfence to maybe push back out onto second. What the? Why?
Moolah just dies through a straight pipe from GG, just straight pipe through the middle, and yeah, Moolah goes straight down because of it, and that's now even worse. No overheal for these players until last. This has to be a round. This has to be the deal sealed here and now from NOOBPANZER. There is borderline nothing that can really go wrong by dropping it on the way in, and they haven't done that. Voxy and Joe teaming up to get that sentry gun already. D-Maul getting blasted around in these spawns. There's so much space taken, nobody near the point. Evo finally blasting in. He's going to live for just a couple more seconds, but the round goes away with NOOBPANZER 3-1, 2 minutes left to play, and yeah, what a conversion.
I think we might be having some tired gamers here in the server, Ben, because everyone's kind of decision making is slipping ever so slightly for both these teams. And I mean, maybe I can chalk it up to that last one just being a freak accident, a nice little pipe from GG to land on Moolah at that point in time. And with 1 round and 2 minutes left, of course, they're going to go to those crits gods and hope that they bail them out of this situation.
It needs a bit more than that. 2 rounds found in 2 minutes is very, very tough. But the Grits is going to be in from Moolah. Builds
Pickles
very,
is down.
quickly in these mids. And Pickles hugely both go down. Where was this mid-fight earlier? Because everyone dropping like flies over on the NOOBPANZER side. Voxy goes down too. Just Ryan and Puck, the 2 soldiers.
Start capping though.
Yeah, these soldiers going to fly in. It's going to be so hard.
Yeah, they get the kill onto Ryan though, who's aggressing. Oh, Moolah could have gone down there, but they need everything to be going their way. So this is still on par for maybe getting around for NOOBPANZER for 4 fence, but I just think it might be going NOOBPANZER's way no matter what now.
Yeah, I think it is. 1 minute left. It's going to be a case of whether this game finishes 3-1 or perhaps 3-2 as the crits getting ready to be used in from the top right. The Deli gets a kill onto Voxy with it, but the crit against the gun is not ideal at all. And the bomb from Ryan gets 3 straight up behind. And yeah, that's the problem. Pushing in with crits until last. The immunity is so valuable for getting you through these doorways. As it's GG's all around. Ryan knows it's over. Big bomb in, and yeah, triple kill is going to be free damage for those logs.
Yeah, I think it doesn't help as well that the pyro is a intrinsic part of these last defenses, and you usually want to throw these crits onto a demoman or a soldier who are just going to have their crits kind of nullified by the pyro. It seems to just be really, really difficult, but I mean, they did make it look okay. They got a couple of kills with it, with the scout crits as well, but just a lot on their plate, and the rushing is usually the thing that makes it more deadly because it allows Ryan to get these sort of massive turnaround flanks. And Moolah, he's making his way to the last.
That'd be great if that came through.
Yeah, only a couple of seconds left, it's over. But it's not quite over for both of these teams, as they will walk away with a draw from this. I'm not sure if NOOBPANZER is still sad about this game overall in the ETF2L standings, Ben.
Yeah, I think on account of how they played, I think they played really well across both maps. And to be honest, I think 4Fins did too. I don't think either of these teams are going to be like particularly disappointed of like, oh damn, we really choked it or through them this game or anything. I think genuinely both these teams did well. And yeah, we saw 4Fins had trouble last time round. And again, their mid fights didn't look perfect over on Sunshine. I think they lost the vast majority of them. But apart from that, like NOOBPANZER, yeah, their last pushes were more clear cut and better. They were catching so many kills onto Moolah in these like weird transitions, particularly later into the game when 4Fins are rushing. But yeah, really, we said before like Ryan and Puck, they got caught up a little bit on the snake mids, but maybe Sunshine is just their hometown because they both had very good games for my money.
Yeah, I think it looked like a game where the maps for both teams were just the MVPs. Like, they looked very comfortable and strong in comparison to one another. These are two, I say, relatively different teams in the sense that they may not be well versed on all the maps with each other. And because of this map pool pick system from ETF2L, it's a bit hard to kind of know where to pour your respawn, your kind of resources into when it comes to scrimming. Like, do we scrim every possible conjunction of map? Do we really just workshop one or the other? Do we have an idea of what our favorite ones are going to be and we just focus on them instead? It's got to be hard.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, I guess it's a good sign if you sort of, at least when, because you sort of obviously this whole time you sort of at some point as well like testing out different maps, and you will, with the way that there's like 5 slotted in each week, there'll be some maps that you have to end up playing along the way that you don't particularly like. So it sort of gives teams more of an idea when it comes to playoffs, when it is just a free sort of 9 map pick ban for that to pick the maps for playoffs. Maybe it is helpful for looking into that, of maybe this map we wouldn't have played too much, but we had a couple of good results in the season and then we decided to scrim it or whatever. I like the system of like, forcing teams out of their comfort zones a little bit, not too much, but just a reasonable amount. But yeah, I'm just having a quick look at these logs. I think the one that screams out to me right on this, just a quick cheeky one, is Puck and Ryan between them got 8 kills on Moolah. They got 4 each. I think most of those were mid fights, but
Yeah.
that's more deaths than Pickles had at all. Pickles only died 5 times the whole game.
Yeah, I think the both teams, well, maybe more for offense, were kind of struggling what they wanted to do on mid. They had this time where they were rotating around a lot, and obviously that's a very all-in approach to these mid fights, because if you get caught out, or if you're, Mula will not be able to just exit out if things go awry. And hopefully they're supposed to set up your soldier to kind of play from the flanks a bit better because of such. But Demo, whilst there was like enough trading, it wasn't quite the Demo standard from, say, Snakewater, where he seemed to be like doing a hot amount of work, a huge amount of work. He was neutered in the fact that it was okay. I think it was more the demo man deaths, in my opinion. I think that was really the tide turn, and there were just some deaths that I was looking at Delhi. I was like, what are you doing? Why are you there? Why are you on the other side? How come you don't have a heal beam on you and such and stuff like that? You're at last. You're like the most important person.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, as you say, both teams are going to be reasonably happy coming away with 3 points. It's the first map win of the season for Four Fens, despite being as close to winning a map across the previous 2 offers without winning one. So
it's a strong team as well.
Yeah, NOOBPANZER are coming in clean of this. They were 12 points from 12 coming into this. So another 3 points, then they are flying up. They're still going to be top of the table, I believe, at least until Mandem's game tomorrow, where Mandem could potentially overtake them. But yeah, looking very, very good for both these teams looking forward.
Yeah, these are both good teams. I've enjoyed watching their games. I feel like there's some really interesting ideas amongst all of them. Nice execution and all this stuff. Some even nice slip-ups as well. Maybe it would be a bit too boring if it was too perfect in this game, Ben. So maybe they're just trying to treat us to a nice varied amount of TF2.
Yeah, of course. I was getting word that there's 2 games happening tonight. Obviously, we're on Print Stream. Essentials, the main channel, has the Garda against Skedder game. But getting word that that's going to a golden cap on their last map. So I think we wind up here and we'll give people a chance to jump across and catch the final dying moments.
Yeah, of course. You heard him, folks. That's the end of it. If you want to catch any more TF2, head on over straight over to the Essentials TF channel. I've been Turbo Towers. With me has been Ben PL, and of course the lovely Sam is on our production as well. We'll stay tuned for more TF2 in the future, or maybe some TF2